This is the Start website. I think what I'll encourage you to do is it follows a typical anatomy of a website. There's lots of things on the homepage, so we can explore by the subreadings, etc. But if you're like Amazon, other websites, what tends to be on the homepage are things you can find with the core navigation at the top. So you might find it easier there's nothing you can't get with this top line navigation that isn't repeated further down. I guess I'll stick with the Amazon analogy. So imagine this is a very clickable site like Amazon. And if we think of the present we're wanting to ask for our birthday is a meaningful encounter, I'm going to talk you through the similar sort of stages as looking for a present on Amazon, where there's sort of a research and have a good look and a play phase through to the equivalent of buying something. The equivalent of within the site is the opportunity for highly meaningful one-to-one support with employers on the site. So I'll talk you from that light touch with employers. So just use the top line navigation. So I'm just going to talk about the employer journey. So where there is that touch point with employers. So but before I get there, to get this present of an employer and an employer encounter on the site, there's this navigation. So this is for you, teachers and advisors. There's parents information, so they can get involved and support their children on the site. If I just show you the employer section, ever so quickly, this is how employers can get involved. So if you have any employer partners, any governors who'd love to help and get involved with the site, there's no charge. Direct them to this for much of the content. In here is 3 easy things for the employers to do. Clicking here, they can upload a video of them or their colleagues talking about the business, talking about different roles. It's a free service, and we get those videos on the site. This is a form which employers fill in, linking to their website, their logo, jobs in demand, where they are, numbers of employees, their sector, to get on a directory, a digital yellow pages, if you like. And this is listing their opportunities. This reveals a form for them to fill in to give details of graduate internships, placements, volunteering, visits. So this encourages employers. So this puts the presence on the shelf in the digital shop, if you like, students to be exposed to. But back to the normal part of the site for students. If we start with jobs, so we'll start quite light touch. Liz was talking about empowering academics. So there's various ways to start seeing jobs. One is the LEP colleagues have given us indications of for each of the priority sectors, which jobs are in particular demand. Where are our employers saying vacancies are hard to fill? So the typical one in construction is you can't get a plumber for love nor money. Well, each of the sectors have some of those equivalents. Another way to start looking for jobs, and this is handy for academics. So we've accessed an international database, won't bore you with the detail, which then takes academic subjects and vocational subjects, and it presents in rank order the jobs where that subject features. So a friend of mine's a physics teacher in my daughter's school. So if your child loves physics, I can then see in rank order those jobs with some quick info, those jobs which love physics as a subject. They love physics as a skill set. Yeah. So if I pick IT, engineers, I can then see not only a subject that loves physics, people, but then it shows them, is it increasing or declining as a job area? What are the average salaries, the entry requirements? related occupations and jobs, and it then links to live vacancies. So this is a good way for researching the local community. So I can be in Blackburn, interested in a IT engineer. I can have a look for vacancies in Blackburn. So we've got one reasonably close in Warrington, and I can start shopping, start to get a feel for what some of these real jobs might be. Obviously, many of these won't be for school leavers. It's helping young people plan their career ladder. And does what interests them? Is it a graduate job? Is it a job where the entry requirements could be a degree apprenticeship, for instance? So again, light touch, but physically linking to real employers in the area. So that's the job section. I'd like to move on to employers. I've explored jobs, I can now explore employers directly. We have national employers who sponsor the site, which makes it sustainable, but also a directory of local employers. So that form I showed you earlier is an opportunity for those employers at no cost to plot themselves on a map. So young people can be having a look at these employers, details of them, links to their websites, etc. But also they're in a handy directory that can be filtered by sector. Quick info, and then links to the career section, degree apprenticeships, apprenticeship recruitment on their websites. Also, many of these employers within these, they offer virtual work experience, placements, etc. So all the details would be on these sites that we've linked to. Is exploring employers. If I explore industries, touched on these earlier, these are the priority industries in the region, where for each of these industries, before getting into the detail, we're showing national, inspirational, audio-visual assets, talking about those industries. To win some hearts and minds, does that industry interest me? And is it what I thought it would be? Then digging into the LMI for each of those industries. And this is all about employers. So we then take employers from the employer directory and link them to this page as well. So students can click and link to those local employers or sponsor employers, and what are the key jobs these employers are saying in those priority sectors. And also education and training providers that provide progression routes to them and further links for each of those priority sectors. So again, it's quite light touch, but links to employers. Getting deeper now in the develop journey, I can start to look for opportunities. In the opportunities section, there's a volunteering. So remember that form that I showed you earlier. So employers filling that form in, these volunteering, other opportunities we can expose behind there for young people to explore and apply for. There's more activities such as NCS, etc. In work experience, we have placements, again coming from that form, virtual work experience. So this is small group, live, video conferencing, safeguarding, protected, very personal activities, assignments. Employers give you feedback. I'll show you one of those in a session in a moment that young people can apply for. This is more on demand. The virtual work experience insights, we're calling them. And in here is a growing number of employers. So Liz, Eloise, Lisa, myself, I think we've been doing nothing else. Loads of great content. that we're turning into these work experience insights that all work in this same sort of way. I click on them, and then it's a little course. So I get into the course. When students are registered with START, they get in straightforwardly. And then it's just a little curriculum. There are just some stages to work through. So typically they will be a corporate video, or in this case, web design company. This is the chief exec talking about his web design company. Moves on to his general manager, talking about the general manager role in a web design company. So Nathaniel in operations, talking about his role. But then typically there's tasks. So we're going to website reviews. Why is that not working? There we go. This is a colleague talking about his job. This company produces school websites, talking about reviewing a school website. He talks about that, and the next task is he set a challenge to review the school website. And he provides a resource, the resource he uses with guidance on how to collate your assessment of a website or your school website. And in each of these, there's academic links to help young people understand some of the technical information in reviewing a website. So this is an assignment, if you like, and this assignment can be uploaded to a locker in START for them to reflect on, keep as a resource when they're going for interviews, or share with you or the relevant curriculum teacher to say, hey, look at this I've done, what do you think? To enhance their job prospects. Or for them to think, I did that, I'm interested, I thought I was interested in web design, it's not what I thought, I'm going to look at another industry, which is absolutely fine. So they're the virtual work experience insights. There's also live opportunities. So we at least have 4 of these in the pipeline for Lancashire. And here's an example of one we did for BP, British Petroleum. Because what we're going to do with these live work experiences is when they've happened, because they involve live video conferencing, assignments, uploads, downloads, feedback, marketing, guidance, mentoring. When we do these, the plan is to record them. And then when they've been recorded, they'll be in this category here, the previous programs. So this is an example of BP. Stuart at BP introducing it. And then the tech is more or less, as I showed you before, an essence of what happened. And then if I show you inside, so this is an on-demand version with lots of exciting video assets to help young people understand that industry, from colleagues at BP who were there on the live event. There are quizzes to keep it fun. But here's an example of, this was a very senior colleague at BP who was in a video conference with the students, explaining the assignment, having some questions and answers. And here's a recording of that. That event was, everybody could see, it was a small group of 30 or so students. Everyone could see each other in the Zoom call. The Zoom calls are integrated in this window. But in recording them, we just recorded the sound, so not to be sharing people's faces. And in fact, with the live work experiences, things we can do with Zoom to protect safeguarding is we can make it so the students can be heard or the chat can work, but their cameras, they won't be seen by the speaker and they won't see each other. So we've got lots of flexibilities. But this is an example. If you have a play with it, have a look through it, it will be reasonably clear where the live events were. Sometimes it will just be the sound because it was very face-to-face. Sometimes it will just be, you'll hear the narration behind a presentation, but not see the faces down the side. So that's a live work experience, and that's our ambition for Lancashire, which I'm working through with the team. So that's taking you from light touch with an employer to very, very intense experience of an employer. I'm going to finish on the locker. So the final journey on here is a profile. Young people end up, as a result of all these experiences, all their thoughts, all their capturing of what they're good at, what they've developed, their notes for CVs, for applications, for letters. All this capturing includes some specific skills and a locker. Now, the locker is where young people can upload assets. They can upload their assignments, they can upload their thoughts, but they can also tag their thoughts by certain skills they may have developed. And they will have developed them using two frameworks. We have the Skills Builder framework, national framework of various competencies which they can have developed, but also in tools is the DFE digital skills framework. So these are all the digital skills that the government is saying need to be developed, life skills and work skills. So all of these have been engineered in the back end of the database so that when young people are looking at a locker and they've had an experience, so I had a day at Inspira, for instance, in a virtual work experience, young people can add an event, day at Inspira. They can tag it by the experience type. There's an apprenticeship, event and visit, for instance, or there could be several of these. They can tag it with their skills, so the Skills Builder skills we talked about. Write some narrative, put the date in, and then upload it to their system. Or if it had been an assignment, they can add something. That could be a photograph of me being on placement, or a photograph of something that interests me, or a link to a website by attaching the URL. So this, if any of you did an arts degree, I did an arts degree originally, and I had to keep a journal and a scrapbook of my experiences. In some ways, that's what this is, a journal, a scrapbook of experiences. It all builds into something which can help them ultimately with making decisions, CVs, personal statements, etc., where we give them additional assets.